I, 46 male, told my first biological offspring, 26 male, that I have 2 sons and he's not either of them. Now my sister, 38 female, is begging me to talk to him. When I was 20, I got my girlfriend at the time pregnant. I was scared shitless, but I manned up and married her. It was hard, but we made it work for 8 years until I caught her cheating. I ended the marriage and began co-parenting my, at the time, son. He was my world. My dad wasn't there for me at all, so I swore to myself I would be the best father I could. I had my then son every weekend. I was always on time and ready to go. Even though I worked full-time and was going to school, I made sure he always had my full attention when he was with me. He was my best friend and my son. Even though money was tight, we had some amazing adventures. He loved spending time with my family and even had friends in my neighborhood. I thought we were doing well until he was around 11. At that point, he started to not want to visit me. His mother had a new boyfriend who was well off, and I knew he was taking them on trips and doing fun activities on the weekends, so at first, I didn't make a stink. But about 6 months after they started dating, my son was seeing me maybe 1 weekend a month. After about 9 months, he stopped coming altogether. After 3 months of calling, chasing, and begging, I was getting nowhere. So my family came together and hired a lawyer to sue my ex for parental alienation. I lost and was ordered to pay more child support. As I was leaving the courtroom, my ex's lawyer approached me and offered to cancel child support if I gave up my paternal rights. I flat refused until the lawyer said this was both my ex-wife's and my then son's wishes. I asked to speak to my son alone, and they agreed as long as both lawyers were in the room. I spoke to my son and asked him if he really wanted me to give up my rights, and he said, yeah. I explained that it would mean I wouldn't be his dad and he couldn't come visit me or my family anymore. He looked me dead in the eyes, like he was asking the time, and said, yeah, so I was shattered. I asked again if he really understood what he was saying, and he said yes, he wanted to be ex's boyfriend's son. I signed the papers that day. From that day until 2 days ago, he never spoke or contacted me or any of my family. It literally almost killed me. I started to drink and stayed drunk for weeks. Finally, one day, I drank until I passed out and aspirated my own vomit. I would be dead now except the mailman dropped a package addressed to me to my neighbor's house, and she saw me convulsing through my window and called 911. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital with aspiration pneumonia. After that, I moved back to my hometown, got a new job, hit the gym, and spent 4 years in intense psychotherapy. I was finally able to let it all go and move on with my life. About 6 years after my move, I met my wife, and she had an 11-year-old son. I was standoffish with him at first, but that kid was, and is, so amazing that I couldn't help but fall in love with him. The day he turned 18, he asked me to adopt him. His father left when he was 5, never to be seen or heard of again. It was the proudest day of my life. He and his mother turned my life around and gave me a reason for living. Not only do I now have my wonderful adopted son, 19 years old, who is now in the Marines, but I also have a son, 4 years old, and a daughter, 18 months old. My career has also taken off, and I'm doing very well for myself and my family. I am a comeback story. I went from a man no one could love to a successful father of 3 with a beautiful wife and family. I survived. About 3 weeks ago, I get a call at my office. It was my ex-il. She informed me that my ex had passed. I simply said, okay, and hung up. It's been 14 years since I've had any contact with any of those people, and I have no desire to know anything about them now. On the 4th, my family and I were getting ready to go to a picnic when there was a knock on the door. I recognized him through the front glass. It was my first biological offspring. I opened the door, and he said, hello, I'm your son. Without an ounce of hesitation, I said, no, you're not. I have 2 sons, and you're not either one of them. Now please leave my property. He just stood there kind of dumbfounded as I shut the door. After a moment, he left. I put out a text to my family letting them know that he was lurking around, and I have no intention of having any contact with him, and I will cut anyone who does out of my life completely. It's been 14 years. I don't owe him or his family anything. I had to listen to my mother cry for him on her deathbed over that child. I laid in a hospital bed with a machine breathing for me, wishing it would turn off and let me die because of that child. I learned in therapy that he had the right to make his own choices, but that I also have the right to make mine. My choice was to move on without him as part of my family, as he wanted. He has no right to come back into my life and disturb me or my family now. My entire family agrees with me. Even my wife and my in-laws agree that nothing good can come of this. He's 26 years old now. If this was some evil plot by his mother and her boyfriend, he's had 8 years to contact me and didn't. Now that his mother is dead, all of a sudden I'm up to bat? I don't care if he was 12 or 200. He made the call, and if you had seen the look in his eyes when he said, "Yeah, so," you would have known like I did that he didn't give a damn about me. So I had to stop giving a damn about him to survive. He doesn't have the right to ambush me on my front porch and act like he's anything to me now. Well, come to find out, my sister is the one who has been giving him and my ex-still my contact info. My sister, who I love dearly, is inconsolable that I won't give him a chance. Apparently he called her after he came to my house and broke down. I told her to stop right there. I don't care, but now she's begging me, for our mother's sake, to meet with this kid. So I ask you, is there anything good that can come out of a meeting with this kid now? Second story. Ita for telling my family the truth about the things my sister has done, causing her to be shunned. This whole thing is a train wreck, so please bear with me. My dad passed away in December. I was his caretaker. My sister kept promising that she would move into the house and help me take care of our dad, as he was very ill and needed to have someone with him at all times. Both his physical and mental health were deteriorating. She never helped out. It got to the point that I was severely depressed and not doing well mentally. My doctor told me I needed a break as I was suffering from caretaker fatigue and that my mental state would only get worse without help. I begged my sister to help me with our dad because I couldn't do it alone anymore. That was roughly 6 months before he passed away. She came over once for 20 minutes to talk to him, then left with his bank card to go grocery shopping. Sure, she bought him the groceries on his list, but what she hid from him on a separate receipt was her buying alcohol for herself, on his card as well. Due to his mental state, he never noticed the extra missing money on his account. I ended up taking over my dad's finances and keeping a budget to make sure every penny was accounted for. I also set every bill in his name up for autopay, so he wouldn't have to fumble around with his checkbook anymore. All of this was suggested by my dad himself, as he knew his mind wouldn't be there much longer and didn't want to stress over making payments on time. So skipping forward to now, I just found out that my sister not only closed his accounts, but also took all the money in his accounts before they could go through probate. My hair is literally falling out because over $8,000 is owed for bills that were supposed to be paid. And I'm scared of being kicked out of the house for nothing being paid for. My phone has been shut off twice now, and when I call the phone company for help switching my phone bill into my name, I'm told I need the proper paperwork to switch accounts. Unfortunately, my sister has the only copies of the documents I need, and when I make calls to get my own, I'm told I'm not authorized to obtain those copies. I have no idea what that means. Through this whole process, my sister has been repeatedly telling me not to tell our extended family of the passing of our father until everything has been settled. She kept telling me that she would take care of me and help me with anything I need. I told her I was running out of money and that I had no food in the house. She ghosted me and has since been ignoring my attempts at contact. I decided to no longer stay silent and told my relatives what has been going on. Everyone is pissed off with my sister. After causing things to go nuclear, I am feeling like I'm TA. Maybe I shouldn't have gone this far, but I was and still am very mad at her. Edit. My brother and I have an appointment with a lawyer on Tuesday to have this taken care of. Third story. Ata for refusing to take my daughter to my ex-husband's wedding. Mai 42 female ex-husband, 45 male, and I were together for 20 years. We had a beautiful daughter together, Jocelyn, 14 female. We got a divorce 5 years ago due to infidelity on his part. I was devastated. He was the love of my life, and he betrayed all of the trust and loyalty we had built up. To make matters worse, he ended up in a relationship with the woman he cheated on me with. They got engaged 1 year later and are set to be married in 2 weeks. Honestly, I still am heartbroken over my divorce. It's hurtful to me that we were together for 20 years, and he could just go fall in love with someone else, as if I was nothing. However, Jocelyn was only 9 when we divorced, and he's a great father, so I would never want to come in between their bond. Jocelyn loves his fiancée as she's very sweet to her, but she doesn't know the reason why her dad and I divorced. I want to tell her when she's a bit older, and he doesn't want to tell her at all. Anyways, I compromised with him that Jocelyn could come to the wedding, but that he would have to provide the transportation to and from the wedding, as I want no part of it. I don't want to drop my daughter off at his wedding. I don't want to see all the decorations and the happy guests. It'd just be too much for me. I didn't tell him all of that, obviously, but he agreed. Today he calls me and asks if he can ask for a huge favor. It turns out that his future in-laws are flying in the morning of the wedding, and he has to go pick them up. Therefore, he can't pick up my daughter the day of, and wanted to ask if I could take her. I said absolutely not, and asked why he can't pick her up the day before when she gets off of school. He said he doesn't want to make the drive twice, and that he will likely not have time as he has to prepare for the rehearsal dinner. I asked why can't the bride pick up her parents. He said she'll be getting her hair done and won't be able to. I laughed and told him there was no way I'd take my daughter and that he'd have to figure it out. Boy, why did I say that? My daughter ran downstairs crying, face beet red 10 minutes after my conversation with her dad, calling me terrible and accusing me of not wanting her to spend time with her dad. I told her that's not the case, and she demanded to know why I couldn't take her. I couldn't give her an answer, and she ran upstairs crying. Now I'm getting messages from his family calling me heartless and cold and a bitch for trying to ruin his special day over a relationship that is long over. My family understands my point of view, but I feel terrible that I've upset my daughter. I don't know what to do. Eta? Should I just put aside my feelings and take her? Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please give it a like and write your opinion in the comments. See you soon.